Welcome to the May ReMyth episode. This is where we talk about how ancient myths become modern pop culture outside of Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I'm your co-host, on break from caring for my inner demons, Darien Smartt. Joining me is my co-host, brother, and a lost soul from the River Akron, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? Today's ReMyth episode is a little different because we are actually straying back into Percy Jackson.
No. Specifically, the tag is...
From the world of Percy Jackson.
But the actual thing is we, outside of Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
And I'm saying we're going back into Percy Jackson.
We're going back into the world of Percy Jackson. Yes, we are, as advertised on the cover. But it is technically not a Percy Jackson and the Olympian book, so
I mean, here in like a year, we're going to not... It's no longer going to be outside of Percy Jackson and Olympians because we're going to always be outside of Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Yeah, it'll be outside of Riordan's Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard.
It's ridiculous.
I have a plan.
You're gonna drop that before everything? Are you going to edit that out?
No, that's staying. That's staying here. Obviously, that's staying here.
So that's what we're doing next season. Season 6, y'all.
Oh, we've talked about that in the podcast. Yeah, we've mentioned that on the podcast several times.
Wild.
But no, today we are talking about The Sun and the Star, a Nico di Angelo Adventure by Rick Riordan and Mark Oshiro.
Yeah, I like the book.
I like book!
I like this book a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it's a lot of fun.
It was really good.
I mean, my biggest issue with it is the simple fact that the narrator who decided to do the audiobook did not go for it. At all, dude.
Do we know this person's name? Should we put them on blast? That seems rude. Let's not put them on blast.
I've mentioned the name of every single one I've listened to.
That's true.
Give me a second.
No, you're good.
And it's not like, here's the thing. It's not like it's the worst one I've listened to. AJ Beckles. It's not the worst one. The worst one might be the second guy the guy who did the second Magnus Chase book. While he did voices, he just rushed through that book. That was like a 10-hour listen. Like, it was ridiculous. But yeah, he didn't do the noises for the troglodytes, right? Like he said His Majesty or Screechling, shit like that. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the book,
well, hold on real quick. Can you? How did the Trials of Apollo reader do it?
Well, he obviously His Majesty wasn't in it, but he would have done it like His Majesty or bling,
DJ, no, okay. This is literally not what the episode's about, but I had never really comprehended how it would actually sound. Like, I knew, because they describe, it's not really the word screech, it is the sound.
Because it's in italics.
But when I read it, I just screech, bling, His Majesty. Like, I didn't, but
yeah.
One more time, one more time for me.
Bling.
Thank you so much. Okay.
And I think there was a click, and it was bling, or,
click something.
Click something. So and it was a lot of fun.
The commitment.
And the thing is, at the end of towards the end of the book, when it's high action, people are yelling, how he was doing it was how I would be playing with my friends at late at night, and I know I shouldn't be. So I'm like, oh. He was really trying to be quiet about his yelling, and I'm like, come on. When Nox is screaming no because they're running away, he would be like, no! And I'm like, no, just scream no, dude. You're in a recording booth. Just do it.
I mean, I can respect maybe not wanting to accidentally blow your vocal cords out. But I think there's training you're supposed to do as a voice actor to keep that from happening.
Don't you record in multiple I can't imagine you're sitting there for 13 hours reading this fucking book.
Probably not. We should ask Erica. Erica, from Seaweed Brain. They would know. They have actually done audiobook work before. God, Erica's so cool.
But it's I imagine you at the very least get multiple takes and a drink of water.
I'm okay, probably.
Right?
All right, but okay. So the disappointment in the audiobook narrator aside, this book beats ass, y'all.
This book is great. I think it's some of Rick's strongest work. Not his strongest, by no means, but I think it's some of his strongest.
I absolutely agree. Real quick, let's read I'm just going to read the description of the book, because I know, based on the patrons that we have that get to listen to the ReMyth episode, because this is a ReMyth episode, we do have ones who have never read any of these books. And I don't know if someone, Tim O'Connor, has read this book. I would not know. So let's just at least read the dust jacket. Mm-hmm. As the son of Hades, Nico di Angelo has been through so much. From premature deaths of his mother and sister, to being outed against his will, to losing his friend Jason during the trials of Apollo. But there is a ray of sunshine in his life, literally. His boyfriend Will Solus, the son of Apollo. Together, the two demigods could overcome any obstacle or foe. At least, that's been the case so far. Now Nico is being plagued by a voice calling out to him from Tartarus, the lowest part of the underworld. He thinks he knows who it is. a reformed titan named Bob, whom Percy and Annabeth had to leave behind when they escaped Hades' realm. Nico's dreams and Rachel Dare's latest Wow, they really did just drop the middle name? That's fucking ridiculous. And Rachel Elizabeth Dare's latest prophecy leave little doubt in Nico's mind that Bob is in some kind of trouble. Nico has to go on this quest, whether Mr. D and Chiron like it or not. And of course, Will insists on coming with. But can a being made of light survive in the darkest part of the world? And what does the prophecy mean that Nico will have to leave something of equal value behind? Nico will have to face demons, both internal and external, as his relationship with Will is tested to the core in this standalone adventure featuring two of the most popular characters from the world of Percy Jackson.
Shout out to the fact that they decided to drop a line from the prophecy when we don't even know the prophecy yet.
Literally.
We find out in this book.
I love that. Yeah.
I don't know if I love it, but I think it's just, I don't know, it's just weird.
No, I don't know. I disagree. I think, because we know there was a prophecy that we didn't get to hear. And the, description, this was one of the, this was released before the book came out. This was the teaser we got getting to know about the book. So knowing that's getting a taste of the prophecy. That's
a different thing. If it a month ago or 2 months ago.
Motherfucker.
they dropped that. Just whoa, the prophecy says he needs to leave something behind. That's crazy. I also think that it would have been a really cool teaser to drop the prophecy on Twitter or some shit like that.
Ooh, yeah. Should we talk about the prophecy?
Yeah, let's do the prophecy.
It's Rachel showing back up. He fucking kicks Will in the face. Sorry, it's the first batch of nightmares we get. And this is the wake up. Or listen is what he keeps being told throughout the dream sequences. Yeah. And it's Will, and he just kicks him right. It's funny, it's an accident, and he feels so bad.
I have it right here.
Oh, I found it too. It was the next page. Here, you read it. You read it.
Go forth and find the one who calls out your name, who suffers and despairs for refusing to remain. There leave something of equal value behind, or your body and soul no one will ever find.
That is such a brief prophecy.
It's very short.
It's short to the point. It's this is what you got to do. Go for it, man.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do this episode? Do we want
to do it
right
now. Okay. So it is a ReMyth episode. So we're doing that.
Okay.
So because the reason I'm justifying it as being a ReMyth episode
because it's Orpheus.
Is because it's Orpheus. But let's talk about that first. Is it though?
Yeah, right?
Right?
It's not.
No.
It's really not.
The fandom was so fucking scared when Rick Riordan was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do a Will and Nico book, and they're going to Tartarus." That's what we figured. They're probably gonna, but he said, "Oh yeah, we're doing inspiration from Orpheus and Eurydice," and everyone's so fucking scared.
The inspiration of Orpheus and Eurydice in this book is the simple fact he uses the door of Orpheus.
Yep.
And they go to the underworld.
They go to the underworld to retrieve someone who's died.
That's it. Has he died?
Yeah. Bob died in House of Hades. He kept the door closed and he ultimately died. That's why he's in the...
But I also assume that Nyx could just put people into the bubble.
I don't think she can.
She's keeping him in there.
She's keeping him here, but she didn't put him in there. He's just reforming.
It's wild that he managed to reform within her house.
I think she did that. I do think she did that thing. That's the So that's the first thing I want to talk about is that this is not, and what makes it not? Because I guess if you boil it down, Orpheus, this myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, Orpheus, someone dies. Mm-hmm. Another character who is living goes to the underworld to retrieve them.
Yep.
Someone died. Characters who are living went to the underworld or lower Tartarus to retrieve them.
Yep.
So why is it we feel that? And I think I know my answer. I'm inviting us to because the ending.
Because the ending. That's why it's not.
The ending. I think
it's the ending.
Yeah.
The reason that Orpheus and Eurydice is a tragedy is because of the ending. Right?
Yeah,
that's the point of Orpheus and Eurydice is that it's he turned around and he lost.
Mm-hmm. He failed. Yeah,
that's a core part of Orpheus and Eurydice. Because it doesn't happen, it's not Orpheus and Eurydice.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think you know what? I think Rick gets to say it was inspired by it because I think you can say inspired.
I mean, it's it's the same way that Lightning Thief is loosely inspired by it, right?
Yes. Also,
I would argue Lightning Thief more so because he
doesn't
have to
save his mom.
He doesn't save his mom, and he does in fact make a deal with Hades.
Yeah,
in order to save his mom.
We're noteworthy in this one. Nico is extra hard trying to make sure his dad doesn't know what they're doing, which is very funny.
Meanwhile, his dad already knows.
Meanwhile, his dad's the one that sent the goddamn prophecy. Okay, hold on.
So the prophecy because Bob was getting loud.
Pin in that. We have to circle back, but pin in that briefly. Okay, but the Orpheus, I agree with that. I think that's my thing too. And it feels weird to say that, like, oh, you can't have a retelling that doesn't end the exact same way, because that's not what our show is about. But I
think I understand. Our show is about retelling.
Mm-hmm. And that there's no wrong way to tell these stories.
But I do think that there are core beats to stories that you have to have in order for it to be a proper retelling.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the times the ending in most stories is, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what's important, especially, again, with Orpheus and Eurydice specifically. Mm-hmm. It's like the ending is like one of the major core tenets of the story.
Yeah,
is the fact that he turns around and loses.
Yeah, I would say okay. So counterpoint to us, not just you specifically.
Yeah.
The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
The Disney movie, The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
You would call this a retelling of Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid.
Probably.
The ending is totally different.
I believe it.
In the ending of the original book, and other details are different too, but the ending is
like every Disney
and all of them
retelling.
is the fact that not only does the mermaid like not marry the prince, like she
does dissipate.
She turns into sea foam, but she becomes a daughter of the air, and if she does good deeds for 300 years, she will get to soul and get to live in heaven. So like that happens, but he'd still call the Disney movie a retelling of the Little Mermaid.
Yeah. I think,
but there are other things. Because I think also it's like Nico is not saving Will, for example.
Yeah.
Music does not play a factor beyond them getting into the door of Orpheus. There's no deal with Hades.
Yeah.
And when they get who they're saving, when they get to Bob, there is no threat of turning back. Like once they have him and they get out, they're done.
The threat of turning back is Nyx is fucking chasing them. That's the threat of turning back.
And that's different. They're just running away. Yeah. So and I think that's for me too. I remember this is something we talked about way back in our Orpheus episode when we had Dylan Hunter on. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was like reading lists of retellings, there was one about a king who like saved someone from a fairy queen or in the Fae realms or something. I don't really remember now, but I remember it being like, oh, he succeeded. And I'm over here like, that's not a retelling then. And then I went through and actually read the story, and I'm right. It's not a retelling of Orpheus and Eurydice. It has similarities, but like, no, I was right. It's not.
You have to lose for it to be an Orpheus
retelling. Yes, I think that's it. It has to be a tragedy.
That's a core thing towards it, is that it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a sad story. It's not going to end differently, but we're going to tell it again.
Yeah.
And damn, we're going to go see Hades Town in November.
Very excited. It's going to be a very good time. Mm-hmm, Look out for that ReMyth episode. John.
Yeah. In the future, Dylan has asked if he can please be on it because he's going to go see it too when it comes to town with Melissa. So yes, of course, Dylan can return.
Yeah.
So so that's like the core inspiration, but there's other myth stuff going on, obviously.
It's how he writes. It's one of his strongest points.
That's the point of it. Yeah. Let's be Percy Jackson podcasters for a brief moment.
Okay.
I'm so into this idea of Rick Riordan bringing on co-authors, like skilled co-authors, to write these stories about experiences that he does not share. Mark Oshiro, God, they are amazing. They brought such life into this, and you can definitely tell when you're like, this was definitely written by Rick. This was definitely written by Mark.
Yeah. Okay. My only gripe.
Here it is.
So.
Yep.
And y'all, 100%. It's not because it's gay.
I think it's because you're a prude.
I'm a little bit of a prude when it comes to my reading, especially when it comes to the Rick Riordan books. And it's solely because, so they kiss a lot throughout the movie, Nico and Will. And again, it's not because it's gay.
Oh, I believe you. I know
really
DJ.
not.
I will, as a queer,
preface this. Right?
I will go to bat for you that I do believe, and we've talked about this off mic.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, is it because they're gay? And you're like, you thought for a minute and you were like, no.
It's
because this level of physical affection makes you somewhat uncomfortable.
Kiss like 30 times through the book, right? Mm-hmm. And
the book's like 400 pages long.
Yeah, it's so like they do, and it's like obviously this is what couples do. They do these minor what is it? Public displays of affection. They do a lot of PDA through the book. Okay,
462 pages.
Yeah.
In the
so
version
they do it a lot, and it's like, okay. My issue with it is That's sick.
Look how pretty it is. I just took the dust jacket off.
That's
if y'all
sick
have
as
a hard copy, like, I don't know if this is on every version, but the American hard copy one's got the sun and the stars.
Cool as hell.
Fucking good book.
Rick does not write kissing throughout his book. Those
are
are only for major
moments.
Major moments is when a kiss is allowed.
We can count on one hand how many times Percy and Annabeth have kissed.
I think it's like 4 times in
maybe.
total.
Now we know they've kissed more than that.
Yeah, like,
they definitely made out in the stable scene at least.
They've definitely done more. But
Rick Riordan doesn't write that.
He doesn't write. He
doesn't write romance.
Here's the thing. He can do absolutely amazing things for the build-up, but the moment the relationship happens, he's like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this. Who cares?
They're together. You believe. I mean,
Congratulations.
Annabeth and Percy are a good couple. We see that together. And I think what we've gotten from Nico and Will, I genuinely like them in
great.
Trials of Apollo.
Oh, it was wonderful.
I think this definitely feels more like,
this is a relationship.
This is a relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
it's great, but it's definitely like, these are the moments that Mark wrote.
Yeah. So I got a question. Did you you as a reader? Did you not like it, or was it just this is different and so somewhat like you clocked it more? And so
I clocked it more because it was different.
Yeah,
that's why. And it wasn't. And like towards the end, I'm like, yeah, they're kissing, right?
Yeah. It stopped being as.
It stopped being as, but it was like halfway through. I'm like, man, how many times have they kissed?
Way more than anyone else kisses. And listen.
When it happened in chapter 1, I'm like, right on. And then chapter 2, okay. Chapter 3, this is a lot.
Oh no, one kiss a chapter.
This is frequent.
Yeah, they're physically affectionate with each other.
Yeah.
That's what couples are physically affectionate. No, you're totally right.
It's solely because it's I only read Riordan books.
Yeah.
And like I'll read comics, but comics are entirely different. They show it rather than telling it. And it's when you read it, it's something entirely different to seeing it. Seeing it, you're like, yeah, okay, cool. Right? And you continue on. You flip, you're like, oh, cool, they kiss. When it's reading, it's explained to you. And so you're like, you're listening to it and you're paying attention more. And so it's like you clock it way more. So it's like,
for reals. Yeah, no, Rick Riordan doesn't do that. So, and I love that. And I also really liked that these two characters have like a comfortable like physical relationship with each other in terms like, and I like that. I liked also a lot of times when they're like in Tartarus and stuff. Oh, obviously spoilers for this book. I don't think we need, but just when they're in Tartarus and they're like going through so much, and then one of them needs to rest. Like they like so many times they mention like Nico rested his head on like Will's thigh and stuff, and it is just like, it is really heartwarming to see these two characters get to be like find comfort in their physical connection with each other at this casual level. And not even to mention like one, it's the characters like poor Nico has been through so much.
Yes.
But also seeing it demonstrated in as like a two young men, as like a gay couple in a children's book, which is becoming more and more common, but it's still something that definitely got banned in Florida. And that it's in like this series that it's so popular and so established and so many kids are going to get to see this. And like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, I want to talk about the physical book itself, since I brought it up earlier when I pulled off the dust jacket. If y'all listen to audiobook like DJ, you would not be aware that there are literal pages of the book that are darker than other parts of the book. Like when I was reading the book the day it came out and DJ came home and he walked past, he looked and said, what is that dark stripe?
Yeah, there's a dark stripe.
Because there are a few darker parts, but there is one thick, like dark stripe towards like the first quarter of the book. And I was like, do you want me to tell you or do you want to figure it out? And
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. You're like, is it obvious? And I said yes. And you're like, okay, I'll figure it out. I was wrong about it being obvious, apparently.
It was obvious.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was him recounting his memory of being in Tartarus.
Okay, I think we talked about that and you weren't sure.
No, you asked me. I'm like, I asked, is it this? And you said yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think there are other folks who didn't know. Yeah, and I love the fact that just talking about storytelling and the fact that this is like print media. And I'm sure this is not the first book to do it, but it's damn cool that they did it. Yeah, and like all the pages when Nico has nightmares are dappled like this like darker gray, so they're darker. But when Will has nightmares, which we see one of Will's nightmares when the nightmare demon puts them to sleep, it's not dark like that.
Because his nightmares are fabricated.
Yes. That is exactly it. Will's nightmares are fabricated. They are like when the nightmare is like of Nico like abandoning him or jumping in the river Styx and Nico not being able to keep up. Like it is his fears. But Nico's nightmares are his memories.
Yeah. It's really funny.
And that's
very good, though.
Yeah, it's very good. And I love how that so reflects into like the like thesis of the book and like Nico dealing with his own demons and like trauma and stuff. And it's literally like not just these abstract things, but like, nah, man, he's got real concrete issues that Nyx is just gonna fucking exploit.
Yeah. The thing that got me the most about this book was right at the end when Will and Nico show up at Nyx, and Nyx's like, so you brought another person with you? Seems those brochures are doing wonders.
Oh my god, that was so fucking funny. Holy shit.
The brochure part, I totally forgot about the brochure.
I was like hit by a goddamn truck.
It's in fucking House of Hades. That was 6 books ago.
6 books ago.
And that's if you were only reading mainline.
And
right?
that's so funny. It's so funny that it came back around. It was a gag that Annabeth and Percy used to get away from Nyx.
Yeah.
And it came back. There were flyers.
So funny. So funny. The brochure part was just great. And that's like
Rick Riordan being Rick Riordan.
That's peak Riordan,
Yeah.
dude. Like him calling back some goofy shit he did in the last series.
Are you fucking kidding me? The brochures?
Amazing. God, I loved it.
Amazing. Also amazing. We love to see growth. We love to see growth in all characters, and also people, and also writers, and also growth in like acknowledging interpretations of characters. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Nemesis.
No, but I did really love Nemesis, and I do want to talk about her. I want to talk about the stop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I'm
8,
bummed
9,
out we didn't get to see
10.
Damison.
That was
heartbreaking.
heart-wrenching. Oh, when they got to his hut and it's empty.
Empty for a while too.
He's like has not. So I love how they use that as like this. There are things you can hold on to, and they give you hope, and sometimes they don't manifest. Sometimes that hope is misfounded, and sometimes you have to figure out how to come back from that. Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Anyway, I want to talk about Persephone.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Great, love her.
So good.
She's so
This is the
much
best
fun.
version of all 3 versions of Persephone. We've got like one in the sword of Hades that we talked about in the main feed. One that we will talk about later on that we see her in the last Olympian. And now, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
Love her.
I love
She's wonderful.
Just that so context again for anybody who does not listen or has not read the book yet, but you want to listen to this episode. I mean, I get it. Thank you so much. They have to, in order to get safe passage into the underworld, basically Nico and Will have to steal some pomegranates from Persephone's garden.
Mm-hmm.
So they sneak in, and they're being all sneaky, and then all of a sudden Nico's just like frozen. Like literally can't move frozen. And it's because Persephone's there, and she's like, I want to talk to you. Will, what? I'm not allowed to talk to my stepson's boyfriend? And she's like, what is it? And poor Will is like, oh my God.
I'm dead.
And she is so regal.
Yeah.
And so poised and so compassionate.
Yeah.
Like she's not, and Will tries to give her back the pomegranates. He's like, I'm sorry, we shouldn't have taken these. Like, fuck. And she's not like fucking with him. Is not like this. She's not like another like goddess or god who would be like, oh, now you owe me or I'm just playing with you. It does really seem like she realized, oh, I have an opportunity to like get to talk to someone Nico cares about. And me and Nico's relationship is not great because I did turn him into a dandelion.
She also, I'm going to be real, is justified.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the problem is she took her anger out on Nico, but it wasn't Nico's fault she was mad. Hades had betrayed her, and that's why she was mad.
Yeah, but it's still also like
justified for the relationship. Yeah, it's not her fault the relationship isn't 100%.
Yeah.
But she also acknowledges that she her anger and like jealousy clouded her perception of Nico, and she has come to like regret that and has like seen how much he is like his father, and she does we get the vibe that she genuinely like cares about Nico, and when she calls him her stepson, she means that.
Yeah.
Whereas I doubt Amphitrite would ever refer to Percy Jackson in such a
Absolutely
manner.
not.
Absolutely not.
No. That bitch ain't gonna say anything positive about Percy.
No.
Or Sally. Or anyone.
No.
Though Hera,
No.
as much as she's a bitch, she definitely views Thalia and Jason in positive lights.
Oh, we're not, just Jason. Jason was her
I have
special
no idea
boy.
about Thalia,
No, I can't believe you would. No, just Jason, because Jason was her special little hero champion. Like, and I don't even think it was because she viewed him as stepson. That was just because he was her champion. Whereas Persephone...
She was still torn up about it.
Oh, no, she was, and we're not
She's
going to...
also super torn up about Apollo.
I think she was going through a lot at the time, and then we just saw her projecting the grief she was experiencing over Jason.
Hey, that's still growth.
And growth is growth.
Even if it was projecting grief from Jason onto Apollo, hey, that's still her stepson.
Yeah, it's true. And I think she does have a moment when Apollo realizes, like, well, she's standing up for me. I've never really thought about how maybe it's really hard to be Hera.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this in a box and I'll think about that later.
We'll figure that out later.
But yeah, and Will gets to talk to Persephone because Will is having a real hard time in the underworld.
Yep.
Like, he's a child of a sun god. He literally glows. He's also a healer. And the underworld is like, life doesn't flourish there, and also Tartarus wants to kill you.
Yeah.
So it's hard for him, and he is, and Nico's really frustrated by this because Will views everything about the underworld as bad and hard and evil and hurtful. And Nico's upset about this. He's like, well, I'm part of the underworld, and he feels like that Will just doesn't even want to give a chance to anything.
I think... in defense of Will, it does attract a lot of bad and hurtful and harmful and evil.
Not wrong.
It's like underworld, not inherently.
Yeah.
But it does attract it.
Well, also, it's a setting. There are stories. There's a reason. Yeah. We're now telling a more nuanced take, but we jump back to the classic myths. That's not the kind of take these stories were going for.
No.
But also,
that's also because, death really is the worst thing for a lot of people back then.
No, for reals. And I like that Nico talks to Persephone, and he's like, how do you love someone from the... Huh? Yeah.
Will.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You said Nico.
Weird. Yeah, Will says, like, how do you love someone from the underworld? And he doesn't even say, like, change or, like, look past. He's just, like, he sees Persephone. She is also goddess of spring. So in that way, she is, like, sets on time, life, rejuvenation. He's like, this must be hard for you. Like, how do you do it? And they have that. I don't remember what Persephone says because it's been 4 weeks, DJ.
Been 4 weeks for me, too.
Sure.
Oh, for this part, yeah.
Oh, right. You read it.
I did bust through it, and then 3 hours left. I'm like, all right.
You stalled out.
Because the dude really started to phone it in. Like, genuinely. It was, like, better at the start, and then the last 3 hours, I'm like, this guy's phoning it in now, dude.
But I love this version of Persephone we got. And that
it's way better.
Yeah, and when Will tries to give back the pomegranate, she lets no keep him. It's a gift from me.
Yeah.
And...
that doesn't come back, though. The pomegranate?
Well, they give it to... what's his face?
Oh, did they give him all of it?
Yeah, they give him all of it.
I thought they kept one.
No, I think they were like, no, we don't need these.
Okay.
Yeah, they give it... unless I'm forgetting, I'm pretty sure they gave him all of them.
Yeah.
But, like Minotaur Man, but he's not a Minotaur Man.
He's not a Minotaur. What is his name? Yeah, find it. You'll find it.
You might find it faster than I will. This is hard. It's after... oh, real quick, I was wrong flipping through this. One of Will's nightmares does get dappled. I forgot. Ah. Because the nightmare he dreams about Nico and the River Styx is in regular pages. But when he dreams about Marin, when the satyr came to get him and he and his mom were attacked by those birds, it is dappled. Yeah. It's interesting. It's almost like it's saying that, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but the interpretation I have of like the difference between the which nightmares are like the darker pages is like those things that we fear but are not real in any way, are not really based on anything but our own insecurities, ultimately have less power over us, or less of the things that hurt us than the things that actually did happen to us.
Yeah.
And when those insecurities are based on the things that actually did happen to us, those are the ones that have a lot of fear. Then Will's worried that Nico won't need him. That's not based on anything. That's just like a relationship insecurity.
Yeah.
But Nico being afraid of, like, not being loved or being cast away or being abandoned or trapped. Like, all of those things are based on real things.
Yeah.
Or Will being afraid he won't have the power to, like, help Nico. That's based on him being young, and when the birds were attacking, he couldn't help his mom.
Yeah.
So, dude, we need to talk about Gojira. Gojira?
That's how the guy pronounced it.
Gojira. Okay.
I'm like, that's how the Japanese pronounce Godzilla, but all right, let's do it.
Yep. That first, when you open, I guess you wouldn't see it, but the pages with them like doing the flashbacks and forth have a canoe at the top. Yeah. And just the way it starts, you open the first page, it's not even chapter 1. Nico di Angelo, why don't you tell me a story? Nico bristled at that. A story? Any story? That seemed too easy after everything they'd been through, after all the suffering. He looked to Will briefly, and his boyfriend arched an eyebrow. He looked tired, too tired, in his bandages. Nico's stomach rolled. The god strips were soaked through with blood again. Oh, the again. Oh my god. He turned to Gojira.
Gojira is how it was.
Yeah. He turned to Gojira. A story about what? He asked. The nymph.
How's it spelled?
Gorgyra. The nymph examined Nico's face, then Will's. Was she going to pull soul threads out of them again? Nico felt something brush his knuckles. He glanced down and saw that Will was trying to hold his hand. He opened his fingers and let Will slip in between his. Let Will slip his in between. Nico's heart sank. Will's grip was very weak. Nico had to do this. He had to finish what they had started. The whispers called out to him, and then Gojira did too. Tell me about the two of you, she said. What a fucking opener!
Sorry, I decided to Google her. Another name for her is Orphany. Orphany?
I like that.
Also known as Styx or Gorgyra.
One of those is not like the others.
One of them is super not like the others. Let me see here.
Anyway, they didn't turn the page. Chapter 1. Nico is having a conversation with Will, Austin, and Kayla, the other two kids of Apollo, about which Star Wars character he'd rather go on a date with.
So goofy.
So good.
It's wild because the answer is like Leia, bro.
Not when you're gay.
What you're on about? Even when you're gay, she's a princess. She will fucking pamper the shit out of you. Come on.
Have you met Princess Leia?
I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Also, I think it might be specifically the Sith.
Of the Sith, really?
Because when they say because Kayla says Kylo Ren is there, and Will's like General Grievous or Dryden Voss.
I think that's just because queer people really like emo and edgy people.
True, but yeah, I've seen great fan art of Nico on a fancy dinner date with Darth Vader. It's very good. But yeah, and then we just smash cut into this normal, basic relationship beat between just people, just silly, goofy ass conversations that you have. I just found a page where they mention Rachel, and Nico just thinks, because it's his internal thing, so this is Nico thinking.
Yeah.
Rachel Dare's words haunted him too, which is interesting because everyone else refers to her as Rachel Elizabeth Dare, which is why I made a big deal about it earlier. But Nico doesn't. Now maybe that's just a Nico thing. He just thinks of her as like Rachel
thing.
Dare. I like that.
Probably heard. I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, but I like
maybe
that.
it's also just not a thing back in his time to pronounce the middle name.
I don't know. But what? Okay. Back into the mythology. What are some big myth beats?
It would be the farm in the underworld that's providing all the nectar and ambrosia.
Yeah, that was really fun. Again, I never once thought about where it came from.
Yeah.
He mentions that the nymphs and stuff at Camp Half-Blood are probably growing the ones they grow they have at the camp, but there are other places that have that too. I don't know if that's either a really hyper obscure thing or it's a world building thing that Rick kind of pulled two threads together to do, and I like that a lot.
Nowhere is saying it. It's just saying, oh, here's where it shows up.
Yeah.
There's a nymph called Ambrosia. It says it's a drink. Nectar's the food. And in the Alchemy, nectar is the food and ambrosia
That makes sense.
is the drink.
No, it doesn't make sense.
I have no idea.
I guess I don't know. So this is so interesting. So the whole point, the thesis of this is about not just not even overcoming, but learning to coexist in a healthy manner with the trauma you have experienced. Acknowledging that there are many times where that trauma is never going to truly go away. That there's always going to be a part of you, but you can come to not let it control you. It does not have to be a thing you fear or you react to other things in a way that is being subconsciously influenced by the trauma you experienced once upon a time. And that's so interesting. But also, it's about whether or not people have the ability to change. Because that is who our big bad is here we are, we meet Nyx again. As you mentioned, she's delighted that the brochures are working.
Yeah, it's great.
Because she believes that no one can change.
Yeah. It's actually really funny because, hey, at the start of Trials of Apollo, you believed that Apollo couldn't change.
That's literally what I was about to draw with. It's so interesting that this story about the ability to change follows Trials of Apollo, which is all about a major character in these Greek mythology going through a change.
Yeah.
That, wow, we hope it sticks.
I think it will. I think it will. I think he just doesn't have the power to do anything.
I wish he had just left the Olympians.
Yeah, but...
God, I wish he had left the Olympians and decided, I'm going to help run Camp Half-Blood. Give it to me, Rick! Damn it!
If only. If only.
Anyway, listen, you could still, like, kids go on, like, quests and stuff, and, like this quest, right? Like, this isn't, like, them being playthings of the god. Okay, well, Hades is the one that did send the prophecy.
Yeah.
But, like, Nico still...
Wanted to do it,
because Bob had already been calling out for help.
There's a prophecy in play, now I have to do it.
Yeah, that was just really pushing him to do the thing that Nico already wanted to do. And I think Hades knew that he's going to need a prophecy, otherwise Dionysus and Chiron is not going to fucking play ball. Man, I know I'm kind of all over the place. I should have made notes. Really, I should have made bullet points. Okay, big things I want to talk about. Nyx, Hypnos, and Nemesis. Thank you. I want to talk about the Nightmare Demon, and then the other Cacao demons, and then I want to talk about Mr. D.
Okay.
So let's talk about Nyx. So let's talk about Nyx first.
Okay.
DJ, I think you said something about her house you wanted to bring up?
So her house is made of bugs.
It's made of bugs. That's what's supposed to drive folks mad.
Yeah, it's made of bugs because it's a solid form, but it's not, because it's literally just a bunch of bugs working together to make a fucking house.
Yeah.
And it is genuinely horrifying to try to imagine something like that, because mild fear of bugs. Very small. I mean, like, I know I can crush them, and I do, but I don't want any bugs on me. Mm-hmm. Please no. I don't want any bugs on me. They're gross. If all bugs could die, wonderful.
Oh no, the ecosystem.
What ecosystem? Piss off, bugs.
I didn't know this about you, DJ.
Dude, I hate bugs. I do. I don't like bugs. Okay. But what is it?
I think what you said is, like, we found out what Nico went through, and you were like, really? That's
right.
it?
Okay, so Nico, we get to hear about Nico's trip to Tartarus that we heard about back in House of, but
it was so horrible. No one has ever talked about it.
No one's ever talked about it. Nico's never brought it up, and so now we get to see it, and it really is just
like, it's bad.
It's not great, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not. But it's not nearly as bad as this time, nor is it nearly as bad as Percy and Annabeth. Mm-hmm. And everyone's saying, like, he did something great when he kind of didn't. If I'm being entirely honest, they're giving Nico a lot of credit for this first trip, right? Because it's like...
In fact, he survived alone.
Yeah, he survived alone, which is obviously good. But at the moment he falls into Tartarus, he immediately gets advice from Nemesis.
Very cool.
Follow the river Phlegethon, and you'll get to your destination, essentially. And it's like, okay, cool. So he follows the river Phlegethon, and then he gets to Nyx's domain. Not quite her house yet. We see that later. But he gets to Nyx's domain, and he goes in thinking that this is where he needs to go, encounters Nyx.
And Hypnos.
And Hypnos. And they kind of fuck with him for a little bit. And then he managed to break free of Nyx and run. Well, the giants show up
to get him.
The two giants that had kidnapped him, Otis and something else. I don't
care.
They show up.
I care so little about the giants.
I care so little about those two specifically, dude. I don't care.
They're supposed to be performers, and they don't even have showmanship.
They're supposed to be performers, but it really is like when Mr. D shows up to kill him. It really was the Megamind and Titan scene. It's like, you guys are super. You guys are a villain, all right, but you're not super. Yeah, what's the difference? Presentation. And he murders them.
Murks those fools.
Yeah, but like, Nico gets caught and he manages to break free, and then he sees the house of Nyx, which is horrifying to visual.
Loses all hope at that point.
Yeah, loses all hope, and then gets whisked away by the giants and put in a jar. He didn't do anything except show up to Nyx's house.
Okay, I think the court, because you're right, like, the things that Percy and Annabeth had to overcome together are so horrifyingly scarring and deeply traumatic. And the things that Will and Nico had to overcome together are real mess.
Yeah.
But the difference, I think, is that they were together. That they did not have to deal with it alone. And I think having to, like, fight the poison goddess and stuff, and that was fucked up, and, like, being on the river being chased by the mania and stuff and the birds and everything, like, that was super messed up, and, like, way more. But, like, I think for Nico, the thing that is supposed to demonstrate is the utter hopelessness of his situation. Like, yeah, he didn't, like, really fight monsters or have to overcome anything or solve any challenge. Like just being there, and we see him starting to deteriorate because of hopelessness. Like what breaks him at the end is when he sees Nyx's house. Isn't that it's like, fuck bugs, man. It's like, how could something so horrifying exist? And he loses all hope for anything at that point, because if this is real, nothing matters. Yeah. And it's hopelessness and that...
I get that. But again, I just think it's so much credit that they're putting on Nico for this. And it's like, I understand it was horrible. Yeah. But man...
I think it's more like noteworthy that like Nico's the only one to survive alone. Yeah. I think we do have to emphasize the fact that two giants did get him out of there,
he did not escape on his own, let alone by his own admission.
Yeah,
right?
That's
or like
also
he was taken from Tartarus. He did not escape from Tartarus.
Honestly, the whole thing, Nico fucked up real hard. He even admits that, like, I made a huge mistake. No one's ever going to find me. I'm going to die here alone. Yeah. And it's like, I can't. He's at that point, it's like the end of that Halo game. Halo Reach?
Yes. Reach is the one where they're fighting on the planet and it's futile. The guy takes out it, finds his helmet, and does die.
Yeah, at the end, it does not matter how long you survive, you are going to die.
Yep.
That's the end of the game. Everybody dies. Your character. I think that's where eventually what Nico was at. He was not going to get out.
Yeah.
At that point, he was just survive as long as I can, but there is no hope.
Yeah.
And that's what made it hard and horrifying. But you're right. Finding those weird bone things in this book. What the fuck are those?
Dude, those are insane. And it's like, we killed all of Alexander the Great's army without them killing one of us.
Like, I don't even know what you are. We are really digging deep into some obscurities. Anyway, I didn't look it up. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm here to talk about. Let's talk about Nyx.
Nyx.
Goddess of night.
Yeah, primordial goddess.
Not even like a goddess. Primordial of
one of the
night.
Like actual firsts.
Yeah, actual first. You had chaos and then Nyx. Yeah.
And then like a lot of things were just born of Nyx. Mm-hmm. She's annoying as shit in Smite. It's her Roman version, Nox, but
yeah, and that's why you called her Nox earlier. Okay, honestly, I'm over here thinking, man, I love my goth mom. I love my goth mom in Hades. Right. Like,
here's the thing, right? A lot of
she's not a good mom in this. I don't.
A lot of her portrayal undersells the simple power that Nyx definitely has. Mm-hmm. She's portrayed very softly in Hades, right?
Yeah, because she is like Zagreus' mom.
Yeah.
And she has raised him. And okay, I know she's not his biological mom, like, but that's Persephone. But she even says at one point, like, Zagreus is like, you are my mother, Nyx. Yeah. Like, you are a mother to me. And so we do get that softness. She's not, but we get like her edges of like, listen, Hades is not going to step to me. Like, she's willing to go against his wishes and help Zagreus, and she is powerful. But you're right, she is softer because we're getting a version of her through the lens of her relationship with Zagreus. Yeah. It would be very different. We were just some fool wandering in.
Oh yeah, and
but even the way like she talks about like Hypnos and Thanatos and Zagreus is very different than the way this Nyx talks to Hypnos and the others. Like, she's not very nice to her kids.
No. And it's also like, even in Smite, right? Like, she is annoying and very strong in Smite, but like, I don't know, I just don't care.
I think it's
she's easy to deal with if you can get around like her abilities, but her abilities are super annoying and oppressive. She's got a nice big old bowling ball she can throw at you.
Nice.
It's called a bowling ball, but it's this big ball of darkness that she can fucking lob at you from halfway across the map. But yeah.
I think it's hard to write or show characters like this that are like primordial. They are beyond a god. They are an essence. They're this like deeply abstract concept. Yeah. And how do you portray that, and what does that represent, and what does that mean, is so difficult to really nail down. And so we take pieces of it. I think in Smite you have like darkness and stuff because it's a battle royale game.
Yeah.
And in Hades, you get like the mother of it, because she's a mother of a lot of gods and goddesses and creatures and demons.
Like one of the first.
Yeah, so she's got a lot of children, and so we get more of like a mother from her, especially because, like I said, it's Zagreus, and that's that's their relationship. I will admit, I don't really understand the interpretation of Nyx we're going for here. Like, I recognize what she is serving for the plot as an antagonist, but I don't know why it had to be Nyx to do this.
I think it's because, I mean, we saw Nyx, right? We saw her, and
it's the brochures. We had to bring it back.
We got to.
Hold on. Is she the villain of this? So Rick Riordan can make a joke about those brochures?
Maybe. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably had plans for it, and he has like things that are set.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the demon thing.
Yeah, the demon thing. I think it's trying to figure out where I'm going with this. I think it's just because he, like anything old and primordial, just typically not good.
Yes.
Right. So it's like,
is not good as in these books, or not good as in like your thoughts not good?
At the very least, within Rick Riordan's universe.
Okay, I'm trying to follow.
Anything that's like primordial or older than time or whatever you want to call it is viewed as
malevolent inherently.
Right? Yeah, inherently malevolent, and it's just like
that pattern tracks.
Mortals, who gives a shit about them, and immortals aren't supposed to change, right? And again, we've had the past stories showing they can. They can. And even Hades acknowledges Percy making everybody change.
Yeah.
Like in this book, we have Hades' acknowledgement of, Percy made us change for the better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool to see that.
Yeah,
and I think having Nyx be the thing for it is just, maybe it's because all darkness is essentially the same.
Yeah, and that doesn't make it good or bad.
No.
It just makes it the same.
Yeah. Because like if I turn off the lights or at least like go into a windowless room, it'd be the exact same kind of darkness as if I went to
Carlsbad Caverns.
Carlsbad Caverns, or like the middle of the woods at night.
Yeah, and you shut out all those stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That, you know what, that works for me.
Like,
the fact that darkness itself does not change.
Yeah.
And so that is where Nyx's belief that nothing changes. Okay, that works for me. I will be honest, she felt really cartoonish villain to me.
A little bit. But that's also just Rick's writing.
But that's not necessarily true. I felt that his recent villains, like
dude, Nero is fucked.
Nero
was fucked.
Yeah, Nero was like a lot. Even like Kronos and Luke.
Yeah. Even
were villainous.
Gaia.
Gaia was a nothing villain.
Gaia was such like a build up, but they immediately squashed Gaia without ever showing anything that she could do. And I'm like,
the thing was like they couldn't let her because she's too powerful. Like they hyped her.
She is literally the Earth. We cannot do this.
Like you can't even let her wake up or everything's gonna be fucked. And I think that was like, I think because maybe it was only 3 books that would have worked, but 5 books of build up. I think I don't fucking care anymore. We will talk about that one.
The Giants are a fucking nothing burger.
The Giants are a nothing, but there's too many of them. We don't even care.
It's not even that there's too many. It's just that like, every time we saw one, they would immediately die or retreat, right?
Yeah,
they never actually did anything. I'm far more scared of the Triumvirate. Jason died to one of them.
Yeah.
Nero was horrifyingly manipulative.
Yeah.
And Commodus was as strong as fucking Hercules. Like, all of these guys are terrifying.
Yeah, even if like Commodus and Caligula
they didn't even lose in their first books.
Yeah.
They went to the fucking 4th book and then they both died.
Yeah. Commodus and Caligula, I think, had more vaguely like cartoonish villainy elements, but were, I feel like, horrible.
Yeah.
In a well written way.
Yeah.
Not that I think Nyx is a poorly written antagonist. I don't. It just felt like
I think we just need more of her.
She didn't feel like the villain of the book. She felt like the villain of the chapter.
Yeah.
Like if you're dealing with a bad guy, this is just one obstacle. Percy
the villain
or Piper.
Of the book is just Nico's insecurities.
This is true. The villain of the book is Nico's insecurities and Will's biases.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. I think we just need to see more of Nyx. I think it is a problem with primordial beings being as, what do we do with them? They're older than time. They're...
The lack of empathy for mortals makes a lot of sense.
What is it? There's probably scarcely anything on all primordial beings, right? Like
they're like a concept. Yeah, they're not
they're not real.
They're not doing things.
We have night, so there has to be something for it.
Yeah. We have these concepts. Like, I don't know if, and there might be, I'm sure someone could let me know, but I don't believe there are any like ancient myths of a hero or someone meeting Nyx. Chaos or Nyx or one of the primordials.
Even in these books, chaos isn't viewed as an entity. Chaos is viewed as oblivion.
Yeah, just like
it's
that.
not a thing. It's just like, I'll return you to chaos.
Meet chaos. Chaos is truly primordial.
Yeah,
chaos is like the god soup that Owen talks about on Through the Mist.
Yeah, and it like the only time we see chaos is at the end of Trials of Apollo, when Apollo is literally at the edge of oblivion.
Yeah, and
it's
it's
like, this
all
is chaos.
just
This is the edge of oblivion. This is if I go in there, I return to chaos. Right.
That's so interesting. Yeah, no, that's a good point. It is okay. Thanks for talking that through with me, DJ. Yeah. I think that works a lot more. Yeah, she's such a silly antagonist. She's so very silly.
She's just I don't even know what to do with her.
I don't know what to do with her. Like, what are we supposed to do with her? Like, yeah, exactly. No,
she's messed up for torturing Bob like that.
Yeah, that was fucked.
That was fucked.
And like taking it weirdly personally. And I think I wish in the books they had mentioned that was why, because it feels like, but it's not even like she feels like people like all in the books change at all. It's more just like, you can only be your worst self. Yeah. The self that is the most destructive, either externally or internally, or things like that. Also, when we talk about Bob and changing, like, it's not like he went through a lot of growth.
No, he got hit by the river Lethe.
He got mind wiped, and Percy Jackson got to him first.
This fucking 14-year-old son of a bitch, dude.
But then in House of Hades, when he starts to have his memory back and remembers, he's like, I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Like, that guy
I like
sucked.
who I am now.
Feeling like this. I like helping people. It feels good.
Yeah, like this is better. I was full of rage and sorrow, and being that person was not good. Listen, healing isn't linear. No, isn't one size fits all. We all go through our own growth journeys. And Bob just went through his through the river Lethe and then running into Percy Jackson verse.
It just happened to be quite instant.
But also big shout out to Nico for like going and actually visiting Bob. Nico who doesn't let people be forgotten. Yeah. Nico who talked to Hestia and Bob the Titan. Very good.
Very strong.
So Nemesis.
She was great.
She was great. You've read through the Heroes of Olympus books more recently. We meet Nemesis there, right? She antagonizes
she shows
Leo.
Up Mark of Athena.
Yeah, because she gives Leo that fortune cookie.
Gives Leo the fortune cookie, and Leo has to, I think before or after meeting her, has to do the Team Leo shit, which I will defend to my dying days.
I think that's funny. I think Team Leo was very fucking
Leo was
funny.
Super
it is
fun.
not meant to be taken seriously. It
not
is very
all.
Fucking funny.
This man is trying to be fucking James Dean the Fonz.
This is a 14-year-old boy trying to be a cool
boy
man.
He was probably only ever shown Grease and Happy Days because that's what his mom was into.
Wild. But yeah, so he uses the fortune cookie, and she's different here, right?
Yeah.
She felt like Persephone different. She felt different.
She wasn't nearly as antagonistic.
Yeah.
That was it. And like I wish it still did the thing where it's like, yeah, she's showing up as like the most hated person.
Yeah, and I think that comes from the acknowledgement that Nemesis says at the end of the story, where Nyx is like, "You are vengeance, you'll do what I say." And
no, I'm
Nyx
retribution.
Is like, I'm retribution.
Balance.
I'm balance. And so I actually like that she's not showing up as the most hated
like,
person,
again,
because that's not who she's supposed to be.
But I would love to know who Nico's most hated person is.
Oh no, we can't have that.
I would love to know who Will's most hated person is.
No, not the trauma. Also, maybe she chooses not to appear like that. Yeah. But I bet she still could if she wanted to. But yeah, because I think I talked about this is like the idea of like balance is what she brings, and it's not necessarily, it's not justice. Nemesis' version of balance is not moral or legal justice. It is just evening the playing field for whoever is playing, no matter what they're playing for. But I liked her in this, just being like playing the long game, being like, hey man, things are gonna go real bad for you. But I'm gonna need to tip the scales up there, make sure you don't die, so just follow this river.
Here's a little luck. I do wish it was. I can change the luck in your favor, but it's gonna boomerang back to balance.
Hey, she's talking to Nico right before she talks to Leo.
You're right.
Yeah.
Wild.
She's
right before. Yes, because they have to save him. Yeah.
She makes sure, because Nico gets captured, they save Mark. Percy and Ebb end up down there, but then at the end, everything, because that's how they close the doors of death. That's how everything works out in the hero's favor, and they win because the giants and Gaia will destroy everything, including the gods. Yeah. Damn, wow, Nemesis. That's some Athena level, I think, strategizing right there.
She's got to figure it out.
And I also like the idea of like she made her representing retribution, because I think that's what she was before, and the idea of like her being vengeance and nemesis is actually something that's come later.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I think that's been more of a like modern shift with the word nemesis and stuff. Whereas, so it's almost interesting for Nyx to be like, no, you are the goddess of this, and she's like, no, I'm the goddess of balance. Like Nyx herself is leaning into the changed version of nemesis that is most like valuable to her in that moment, not acknowledging nemesis as she is as a whole.
That, or it could be she was originally vengeance, specifically in this world.
That's also fair too.
Specifically in this world, she really was vengeance, because I mean, we see all of Nyx's children, and they're not great.
I mean,
right? They're not good emotions.
Oh, all of Nyx's children. Sorry, I thought you said all of Nemesis' children.
No,
and I'm
Nyx's
like,
children.
Ethan Nakamura is the one guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, all
no,
of
Nyx's children, and they're not like the greatest, right? Sleep might be the best one we've heard, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Thanatos was death.
And again, that's the Greek view of that is, hey, that's not, we don't want that.
He's beautiful.
He is beautiful, but that's because love and death come hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. Nyx's children all represent things that we don't really love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it, right? We see the Nightmare Demon. I don't remember their name.
I'm going to pull up the name because I actually am a big fan of Nightmare
They're
Demon.
Fun.
I thought they were so funny.
Like Sleep, sure, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like Long Sleep is not good. Vengeance, obviously, never all too great. And I mean, she pulls more kids out of Nico, which was wild.
Whoa, yeah, we got to talk about that. Epolis is how I'm going to pronounce it. Yeah. They, I think Nico even thinks like, I'd never tell them this, but they look really cool. Really they just sound like a video game boss battle cool. And I think that's so funny.
When the dude was, I guess I have to read the description again. But it seemed like they were just an amorphous blob with tentacles coming out. Because I only know about the tentacles and like that's it.
Okay. Let's see, so the creature shifted towards him, pulling in all its appendages. As it did so, the darkness encasing it drifted away like birthday candle smoke, leaving something behind. A vaguely humanoid shape with arms, legs, a chest, a head, which was in the place Nico had guessed, and a face. Beneath a black spiked helmet of Stygian iron was visible as shiny and sleek as a tree sap. Other details fell into place. Half a dozen milky white eyes, a chiseled V-shaped jaw, and a triangle bone-like protrusion that may have been a beak or a nose. Their emaciated body was wrapped in an inky, form-fitting cloth. Their appendages folded elegantly behind them so it looked like they were wearing a cape. Nico didn't want to tell the creature they were super cool, but they were super cool.
Okay, I got a visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, shout out when Will wakes up, he's like, who is that guy? And Epolis is like, I am not a guy. Epolis really said I'm Janet from The Good Place.
Yeah.
And that's delightful.
It's great.
I think I'm always here for I'm not a guy, I'm not a girl, non-binary humor.
Yeah,
I find it delightful. Also acknowledging this is the first non-binary character we met. The fact that they're a nightmare demon.
Great.
Optics.
Love it.
But then we get His Majesty later, is best troglodyte. Best,
super fun.
Best ground runner.
I'm just going to stay at this farm because I'm great at herding these cattle.
I'm great. I've found my passion and it's herding cattle. And I'm like, His Majesty, I'm so proud of you.
Super fun.
I want to say best boy, but like boy with an I, you know, the concept of being best.
Yeah.
They're not a boy. But yeah, so it's interesting. So they are like a nightmare demon. Later on, Nico says they're the god of nightmares, but we circle back and then they're classified as different than being like Nemesis or Hypnos.
Yeah.
But they're like the same as the cacao demons, but not the same as the cacao demons, which we should finally acknowledge.
The cacao demons.
I keep saying cacao. Would you say cackle? Cacao demons.
So it's really funny. The first time I've actually seen that word, cacao demon, once again in Smite,
really?
The character Emir has 3 different skins called Cacao Demon.
Oh.
And it's solely because the first one is just Cacao Demon, and he, I don't know, looks like a demon made out of ink. And you get it by getting to level 30 in the open beta at PCs. Oh, you cannot get this one anymore. You could get it for the first 2 years of the game's life because that was how long the beta took. And it's no longer available. The next one to be available was Cacodemon X. And this was when the game came to Xbox. If you got to level 30 in the beta of the Xbox, you would get the Cacodemon X. And it was a similar skin with updated visuals, and it was green.
Okay.
And then the third one was Cacodemon, but there was a 4 in place of the A. And that was when the game came to PS4. If you got to level 30 on the PS4 for the beta, you would get this skin. It's so stupid. But this one's like blue themed, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The original's like purple and red. But you can no longer get them, and that was the first time I saw it. So when I heard it again, I'm like, oh, nice. That's the end of that.
That's the end of that story. Nice,
oh,
nice. So when when Nico and Will first walk into the underworld, like the door of Orpheus goes behind them, they're walking down the stairs, and Will hears something scrambling around behind them. He's like, I think we're being followed. And Nico's like, there's nothing there. You're just kind of like freaking out. This place will kind of do that to you.
Yeah.
We smash cut to the very end, and Nyx is like torturing Nico. Like, you could never change. Look, meet our children.
Meet our kids, Nico.
What the fuck?
I had kids with this 14, 15-year-old boy.
Yeah, that's upsetting. That's upsetting. She Nyx creates these like demons and entities from her own darkness.
Yeah.
So she has created
using
them
pieces of other people's darkness.
Yeah. So she created these little.
Cacodemons.
Yeah, Cacodemons. Well, I was just trying to figure. Listen, in my head, they were Neopets. Not like they were Neopets, but they looked like pet. But pets always looked like more real creatures, whereas Neopets were like weirdly. So they were like small, inky black Neopets.
Yeah, well, they were inky black, like Jubs with.
You're right. They were Jub.
Other features.
Someone had like antlers and looked kind of like a bunny, right?
Antlers. One of them only had one eye.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna need to see some official fan art, official art of these bad boys, because I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just there, and it's like his grief and anger and sadness and like each one of them is this different thing for Nico. What was her big plan? Just to prove that look, these are literally living entities. I was able to create living, like existing things. That's how bad your darkness is. I don't. That's another thing. Is that the thing circling back to the Nyx of it all? And like how to classify is like, what was your plan? What did you think would happen?
Like it's literally now he can acknowledge his demons and work through it by reliving the memories. Like it's, I don't know. It's super weird.
And also they're cute. Is the other thing. They sound really fucking ugly cute.
Yeah.
And now it's like you can be literally a.
They jump up onto the bed to snuggle up with him and Will at the end of the book. Like these things are just my fucking dog.
Yeah, no, I think that's also what it is. It's like that Nyx views darkness as this thing that makes you unchangeable, and that Nico will be miserable forever because of it. But that's not true, because these things are just pieces of you that deserve love and kindness. That's truly what it is. Like this darkness inside of us, the hurt, the pain, the anger, are just like parts of ourselves that need our own kindness the most.
Yeah.
Now she has pulled them out of Nico, so here they exist, and he can literally give kindness to them. It's like the most therapeutic thing you could have.
Great. I can actually learn to accept this shit. Like actually.
Yeah, and then the thing that Nico leaves behind is like setting them free so they could do as he wishes. And then he and Will
and follow him.
And Bob have run off, but they are running along trying to get out, and they're quick, get in the boat, get in the boat.
So goofy. Like Nyx is so wildly just chaotic, like actually chaotic.
But
of a
she's not
character.
supposed to be. But she
is.
She is, but she's not supposed to be chaotic. Like this is supposed to be her evil master plan that she has organized. She captured Bob specifically to lure Nico, and it's just like none of.
I feel like if Rick had 2 more books to cook on this, Nyx could become a problem.
You know what? Yes, if we could get more,
just another 3-book series, Nyx could be an actual problem, and I would feel like, oh yeah, this is like fucking Loki becoming a problem in Magnus Chase. Right? It's because Loki was a problem throughout Magnus Chase.
Yeah,
right? It was just a consistent problem, and then when we finally get to him,
man, Nyx is more chaos than Loki. Honestly,
insane. Holy shit! And then when we get to the fighting of Magnus Chase, great scene, and you're like, oh yeah, Loki's a problem, but then he's like, oh,
Magnus Chase really said, I'm going to use the power of friendship.
Truly. He's
And
like,
he
I'm
did.
not, hey, buddy, I'm not a warrior. I'm the support.
I'm literally support class. Nah, I love it. Oh my God. This is totally side tangent, but like when I got to be on Seaweed Brain's episode about Ship of the Dead, and we got to talk about the whole thing. And it's like, so, the end is like so funny because you find out the gods had the mead the whole time. And Max like, what the fuck? And so then Carter asks, like, they the comment of like, was this journey even like, did all this journey even matter? Like, they just gotten the mead. Like, is that it? And in that moment, I realized, yes, it does matter. And not in the way that Lord of the Rings fans will insist that it's all about the journey. The Eagles couldn't have just flown you there. Like, no, the story's all about the journey. For real, for real, for real. The Eagles definitely could have just flown someone there and solved the problem. But
it would have been like much faster if the Eagles could have.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, the story is great.
Exactly.
I need to sit down and watch those movies because
they're great. We should watch the extended edition. They're so good. No, but for Ship of the Dead specifically, everything Magnus flights about is stuff he learned about his friends on that journey.
Yeah.
That stuff that happened, that is where that's it. So if he hadn't been on the journey and just gotten the mead from the gods and fought Loki then, he would have lost because he wouldn't have had any of that. This is one of the things where the journey literally did matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nyx is goofy. And I don't think she's supposed to be goofy, and that's why it's a little bit of a problem to me.
The brochure thing really is
that
just
you know
goofy.
that is, and the fact that it worked on her is, you know what, you're right.
That was set up in like the House of Hades. They're like, oh man, this wasn't on the brochure. We figured we'd go off the beating path, but like this is some. Wow, we have found something great, haven't we, Annabeth?
You're right, and she does fall for that, and it is very, very funny. She's scarier in House of Hades, though.
Yeah.
Than this.
Oh yeah.
The troglodytes.
We weren't expecting her though.
That's true. There is another thing where they're like she's posing a threat. Like the troglodytes are worried because like they smell like the changey smell, and it's like Nyx is what it is. So maybe that could be a thing. Like Nico wasn't her master plan. Nico was just like one thing that happened to coincide, but it could potentially be.
But it just happened to her just rising up through the underworld to get to the surface.
It could be. Yeah, we could see more of this because
she did have a plan outside of Nico.
What was her plan?
We don't know it.
Yes,
but
right.
she does have a plan outside of Nico. And I bet it ties into the fact that Chiron went and met Bastet and Mimir.
Is that it? Or, man, R.I.P. Seaweed Brains theory. We're not going to fight Jesus. We're fighting Nyx.
Yeah, right. Well, probably fighting the different darkness gods.
That's true. But I like your theory of it being like because it doesn't change.
Nyx from the, what is it? Nyx from the Greek mythology. Ymir from... Because Ymir is, God, what do the fuck they call the normal realm?
Midgard.
Ymir is just Midgard.
Okay, so these like this but I think what you just said is because darkness doesn't change, and like Nyx's whole hang up is things don't get to change.
Yeah.
I mean, hold up. If we just talked about, Trials of Apollo was all about changing. Not just Apollo changing, but everybody changing and growing and learning. Like every character he interacted with changes in some way.
This book shows that, hey, people can change.
So if Nyx is upset that the status quo of the world has been shifting, that could be very interesting. And that would make more sense in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm into it.
Because, again, there was genuine hints towards a greater plan that didn't involve Nico. She just wanted Nico down there for... I guess her greater plan, but I don't know what it was.
It's just to prove that she was right.
It really is like...
Nico's like her thesis statement.
It really is like, why the fuck does she want Nico?
Why do you care so much?
Why do you want Nico and Tartarus with you?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want that so bad? There's something greater there.
Yeah, it can't just be to prove you're right about things not changing.
It can't be that.
Unless it started out with when she found out about Bob and him not wanting to be the Titan anymore, and she's tormenting him.
She wanted Nico before finding out about Bob.
Did you want her? That Nico showed up before
she
Bob.
Didn't. Well, Nico showed up before Bob, and she wanted to keep Nico and not give Nico to the Giants. But the Giants like, dude, Gia wants him for plans. And he's like, all right, fine, if Gia wants him, but if he survives, I want him.
That's right. I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I'd be way into getting more. You're right. If we had more Nyx and got to see her more as like this as an antagonist, because I think you're right. Primordials have a lot of potential. She was just so cartoonish in this one that I just have, like I said, I don't know where else to classify her. Rick, what do you want me to do here?
She's so goofy.
So let's briefly acknowledge that Hypnos is here.
Hypnos is here.
Okay, Hypnos apparently the one who actually put New York City to sleep, not Morpheus.
Was that Hypnos? Did they? I do remember them actually mentioning that.
So they have it's a retcon because in Last Olympian it's absolutely Morpheus.
Yeah.
That is what is said, and Rick Riordan describes him looking an awful lot like Morpheus from the Sandman. This is intentional. We know Rick Riordan is a fan of the Sandman.
Yeah,
we know this. Facts. So it was a fun little thing for himself to describe Morpheus as this. But I think the mistake was Morpheus is a god of dreams. Hypnos is a god of sleep. It should have been Hypnos.
Yeah.
So one thing I think is that with the series has gone on for so long, I actually don't think it's bad for us to clarify here that it's Hypnos, not Morpheus.
Yeah.
That's not a mistake. That's a retcon.
Yeah. And it was simply a mistake on Percy Jackson's fault for thinking it was Morpheus.
Well, Grover said it was Morpheus.
All right. It was simply a mistake on Grover's fault for saying it was Morpheus.
Yep, that's it. It was actually Hypnos.
I couldn't actually see his face.
I don't know. I just kind of thought it was. I got him confused. And that's fine. I'm actually all for these things earlier can be changed because actually we learned this later. And maybe that's just the comic book fan in me who just has to accept that sometimes this shit happens. Sorry, I just remembered that they just killed Kamala Khan in the latest Spider-Man.
That. That's so wild.
And
I can't believe they did that.
And I'm just so mad about it. Like I was watching Spider-Verse last night,
maybe.
and I don't know. The fact that they were allowed to do that makes me so mad. I have to stop. I have to put that in a box and throw it in a river because I'm so mad. And the fact that it's not even her book and it wasn't even her
I can't believe that it wasn't even her story.
No, it's not even her story. And she was only there so she could shapeshift into Mary Jane so we get a fake out where they thought it was Mary Jane. And it turned out Kamala Khan, who has not shapeshifted since the first 10 issues of her book, and it was specifically stated she can't shapeshift anymore. Now, I don't know if that came back in the most recent run. I'll be honest, I didn't read it because I fell out of comics in the last couple of years. But
it could have just so that they could set up for this.
Maybe.
I don't got to worry about that because the only comic book I care about is Invincible, and it's over, baby. It's done and over with, and there's like the only retconning happening is in the series, and I gotta say, not happy with some of it, but maybe later. Season 2 this winter.
My head is screaming. Okay, I can't stay. Every time I think about it, I get so viscerally fangirl angry. Like, oh my God, how fucking dare you? A year after she got her own TV show, the year her TV show or movie is coming out, Marvel Green. It's just a marketing fucking thing. It's so they could sell this and then they have like Fallen Friend, the death of Miss Marvel. And on the cover, it's like Spider-Man on his knees mourning. And behind that is like Captain Marvel. Bet, of course, Carol's there. But then like fucking Wolverine and the Thing.
What? I guess you haven't read the newer.
Maybe, but like
maybe it's something
not her family, not her buddy Bruno, not a single one of the champions,
well,
team she
death
led.
Of a friend.
I'm so angry. I'm so mad. No, it's just marketing. It's just marketing. But it's like, and everybody dies, and eventually all the heroes are gonna die and they'll come back. I know she's gonna come back, but like, if she's gonna die, her first death should not be this. This is what makes it insulting. If she had died at the end of her own comic book run, fucking saving the world, saving her family, being her hero. But she dies because she was disguised as Mary Jane, and then someone stepped out of a portal and stabbed her through the chest.
That's so goofy. Dude, they've been just messing with Spider-Man like this whole last year.
Yeah, it's not even, here's another, although insulting, it's not even a Spider-Man story anybody likes right now.
No, but dude, I've seen so much complaint about this Spider-Man story within the last like 2 months, and after like truly understanding to the extent that I can of just posts and other people complaining about. I'm like, yeah, this sounds
bad.
Awful.
It's bad.
This sounds awful. What, you put Peter Parker through a time dilation where it was a week for him, but like 5-6 years for Mary Jane, and now she has a family with some other dude that seems to be a self-insert for the writer, but
I'm going to leave all that in. Now, usually I would have cut that comic book rant, listeners, because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And I like things to be concise. But I'm so angry. I need other people to be part of my rage, and it's just going to have to be you. Sorry, gang.
I recently saw the panel where they make the kids disappear in front of the man's eyes. The kids just fade out of existence. He's like, no!
That's so fucked up.
So rude, dude.
I'm so over it.
I have no idea what's going on, but it's so funny to watch from the outside. Oh, man.
So, Nico and Will.
Nico and Will.
They all get back home with the cacao demons. Bob the Titan's there.
Nico gets
He gets
a
to say hello to
dream.
He also keeps saying sun and the star. He keeps calling Will and Nico his sun and star.
Yeah. Don't understand that. That's not explained.
No, it's weird. I mean, it's a weird meta thing because we know why it's happening. We, the readers, know. And
we suddenly given like Bob Deadpool ass powers to.
I don't know.
Dude.
And with the sun and his star, they saved him. Will is the sun. Nico is a star. And it's also something directly from Rick Riordan is how, like, it's like, why is it called that? Well, the sun is a star, right? So they are one and the same. Nico and Will are like two sides of the same coin, no matter how far away or how different, they're the same. These characters are soulmates. This is explicitly what he said. Nico and Will are soulmates. You love to see it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. But that's what it is. And it's great. And I'm into it. And Bob's whole thing is like, say hello to the sun and the stars for me. But then it's like a little too meta with him calling them his sun and the star. But granted, like, I think Will help save him by literally blasting light from his chest. So
yeah. Nico gets a wonderful dream.
Yeah.
He gets such a sweet dream. And it's not a dream because it's real. Just so happens to be in the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So Hades gets to arrange a visit of Maria and Bianca to Nico.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're really there. He can genuinely hug them. But they are just like kind of ghostly. But he can genuinely hug them and feel them.
Like their souls have been brought in to visit Nico in his dreams because sleep and death are real close.
Yeah. And
sleep and death, literally brothers.
Yeah. It's great. He gets to Hades' line where it's like, I'm the god of death. If I can't break the rules for my son every now and again, come on.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Also,
so
another retcon we have, Bianca shouldn't be there at all.
No.
Because she was supposed to have been reincarnated, but it seems like she didn't actually.
Maybe she did, and then she died again.
Damn, wow, that would be rough.
She got reincarnated as like an animal that doesn't live very long. You know?
Bummer. Wow, that's your hero's reincarnation. Does that count? Does that count as one of your three to get into?
Fuck up, like
yeah, that counts as one of your three to get into the Isle of the Blessed. What the fuck is this?
It's ridiculous.
So that's also okay. It could just be a retcon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or it could be like
I don't know.
The body that Bianca currently inhabits is sleeping.
Oh yeah, maybe. I thought.
No, it says that she's supposed to be in Elysium, and she's like, I am.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. That's a retcon that makes me that bums me out because I liked the idea of Bianca di Angelo, who died when she was 12 goddamn years old and had to spend her whole childhood taking care of her brother in this fucked up hotel, gets to live again and hopefully get to live a full human life that was taken from her. I mean, now she also gets to be in Elysium, and that's good too. I guess that's better than having to deal with the shit in the real human world.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man.
It's a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag.
The narrator, I'm going to take a step back real quick. The narrator, when Nyx was like, I'm your mother, whatever that line is, like, you're not my mother, Maria is. I have a mother. Her name is Maria. The narrator's like, I have a mother. Her name is Bianca. And she loved me and my sister so much.
That's in the book.
That's in the book? Oh.
And that's what we call a mistake.
That's an actual mistake.
That's an actual mistake. I'm sure later versions will correct it. Because I wonder if later versions of the Trials book took out the part where Reyna talks about being on Calypso's island.
Maybe.
It should be Cersei's island. That's another mistake. It's just a mistake that no one caught. But yeah, it's a mistake. Also, Nico says damn.
Does he?
He does. One time he says damn.
Nice.
But it is with an M.
Just the M?
Just the M. And that doesn't make sense. Nico wasn't there for that.
He wasn't there. Here's the thing. I bet, because again, I bet Nico's just saying damn. And I bet Rick's like, yeah, he really is saying it with an N. But this is for me.
This is just for me.
This one's for me.
That's for me. It is... Oh, do you want to look at this? So I got the Barnes & Noble's special edition, and it came with a little piece of paper. Meet the monsters of Tartarus. And you unfold it, and it's got art. Oh,
the bone monster, doesn't it?
Minitanis. Oh, and it's got the guy. It's got the Alypius.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to look at that, that's pretty cool. I'll take pictures, and I'll throw it on the Patreon, y'all. So you can check this out.
These are great.
Yeah. But yeah, it is at the end.
Eterna. Dude, these things are weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Majesty.
Yes, Majesty.
Gotta love it. Amphithemis.
You are not speaking into your mic.
Amphithemis. Dr. Thorne. That's the Manicore.
You're fucking
These are
Dr.
great.
Thorne. I can't believe Dr. Thorne gets to be here. What the fuck?
I wish the Cacodemons were on this.
I would have loved to see the Cacodemons. Maybe that would have been a bit too big of a spoiler.
Epiales doesn't have a helmet.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's just taken off or was like designed later. Oh, Amphithemis is on here, the Lamian centaur. That is so sad.
That was a very sad.
That the satyr the
centaur thing.
This guy who's
it's a centaur subsex that looks like a satyr.
Yeah, looking for Dionysus, we find out.
Yeah.
And at the end, Nico's like, hey, can you help that guy? He's just a mania. Yeah. And I'm like, oh.
Right.
Because I don't know what happened. I don't know that story very well. But that was brutal. That was really sad.
It was rough.
Mm-hmm. And that turns us into the last big myth thing I want to talk about. I really like Mr. D in this book.
Mr. D is great in this book.
Mm-hmm. I liked him in Trials of Apollo.
I actually kind of care about Nico, which is funny.
Yeah. I liked him in Trials of Apollo, but this one we just get to really see Mr. D acting as like camp therapist. Mm-hmm. Now it also could just be he's acting as Nico's therapist.
It could also be he's just acting as the god of madness and really wants to dissect this madness.
Oh, that's also interesting. Like, but I think I think what Rick is doing here, Rick and Mark Oshiro did here, was establish Dionysus as like a god of mental health, and associating the fact that the reason he's able to like drive people mad is because he recognizes how the brain works and the things that lead to those like what can do that to a person. So it makes sense that he could help someone.
If you got a brain tumor, go to Apollo. But if your brain don't work so good, maybe talk to Dionysus.
If your brain's being mean to you, you talk to Dionysus. Yeah. So it is, and I liked that and him talking to Nico about those things. And when Nico's like telling him, he's like, it's got popcorn. He's like, can I have some of the popcorn? Like, I liked, and also just the relationship between Mr. D and Nico felt very good. I think something you've mentioned, DJ, is regarding Trials of Apollo is how you feel like Mr. D also maybe has a story that we get. Like, because Apollo's saying, your story's not over. Like, have heart, brother. Yeah. And I hadn't interpreted that as one of the many story threads, but you did. And I thought this book did a really good job of making it so I would actually want to get a Mr. D story. Yeah. Because I don't care about the guy from the Percy Jackson books.
The guy from the Percy Jackson books. Here's the thing about the guy from the Percy Jackson books. That dude has 90 years on his sentence. Yeah. The guy in the... We don't really see him a lot in Heroes because he's on Olympus. But the guy in Trials, he's got 35 years on a sentence.
What are you talking about?
On a sentence.
How?
He got 50 cut at the end of Last Olympian. He got 50 years cut off of a sentence.
Did he?
Yes.
When?
That was because he helped. No. Maybe it was in Trials. It was in Trials he got it. I
thought he talked to Zeus about trying to get that, and Zeus said,
No, he did get 50% off. He talked to Zeus about getting the whole thing cut, but he didn't get 50 at some point. He got 50 years cut off of his sentence. Okay. So he's now closer to being free. Okay. So he's a little more chipper.
Maybe more helpful. I also
now instead of being a timeout for an hour, it's only 30 minutes.
I firmly believe that the reason that Mr. D is so nice to Nico is because the first time he met him, Nico rolled up and said, "You're my favorite card in Mytho Magic."
Oh, probably.
Speaking of Mytho Magic, this game is from the 40s. Yeah. This game was played in Italy in the 1940s. Yeah. What the fuck?
And he got more into it. Here's the thing. I absolutely believe that if he got it in the Italy, it was solely because some fucking tourist was playing it and then gave him a deck.
Not during the 1940s, my guy.
Maybe.
What tourists in the 1940s, my guy?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible.
But no, here's the thing, because he talks about how one of his first, like, hey, I think I might be different than other kids moments was when he was playing with one of his friends, and he said that Ares looked pretty, and that friend never talked to him again.
Yeah, that's wild.
So it's not like this really hyper obscure thing that Nico had. So it's just like,
I just know the mom mentioned that he got way more into it when they moved to the U.S.
Did they live in the U.S.?
Yes. That's where his mom died.
I thought she died in Italy.
Nope. They moved to the U.S. to get away from the war.
When? What? When? What?
I don't know. I just know that that's what they did. That's what she said at the end of the book. Is like, oh, you've always been in that game, and you got even more into it when we moved to the U.S.
I want to talk about. Okay, I'm flipping through. I'm trying to find it right now. This is pissing me the fuck. You love that game, said Maria, her dark eyes sparkling with now. Half the time it was possible to pull your attention away from it, especially when we moved to the United States.
We moved to the United States. So which means he got greater access to it when he moved.
I'm just... anyway, so this dream is also dappled black.
Yes.
Even though it's not a nightmare.
Because Hades is there.
Because Hades is there. But also it is still like loss and grief, even though he's getting to see his mom and his sister. They're still... So I also like that. Even though this is a very happy moment for Nico, it's also still demonstrating that he still has like his demons. Those things are still going to be there no matter what, but they are not making this horrible for him. They are not harming him. Yeah.
Okay, listen to this like 2 hours ago.
No, you know, I was like, wild. Anyway, Nico decides he's going to call them the Cocoa Puffs, so that's very cute. The cacao demons.
Dionysus doesn't get it. Like, I don't get the reference.
I don't get the reference. Anyway, my point being, this is the only reason that Dionysus likes Nico, because he rolled up with Mythomagic, this game from the goddamn 1940s, that has stuck around because Jason, right, also knew Mythomagic.
Yeah.
Not Frank, Jason.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you played Mythomagic?
Hey, Jason, when did you play Mythomagic? Mr. Raised by Wolves led the legions.
You don't think he tried to sneak away to play with the fucking dorks down the street who played Mythomagic, this 1940s ass game from Italy?
It's like terrible. Oh my god. Oh, that's so
You don't think
funny.
that New Rome had Mythomagic going throughout the whole thing because, hey, it's Rome and Rome is in Italy?
Mythomagic Friday nights. Yeah, actually, thank you, DJ, for making that. It's an Italian game, and it's not. It's a United. I don't know. That's actually maybe my biggest problem with the book is that Mythomagic now is a thing from the 1940s. I just thought it was a thing he learned about when he got out of Lotus Hotel and hyperfixated on.
Like, I actually, here's the thing. I always thought it was from the 1940s.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm like, he played it when he was a kid because he had like no time to really deal. And like when Bianca says it's the only one he doesn't have, which means he's been collecting it for a minute and they haven't been out of the hotel for that long.
Did he have his Mythomagic in the hotel? That changes.
Probably.
Wow. Okay. But was he getting more in the hotel?
I have no idea.
Oh my god, can you imagine one of those games where you play it and you get like a card and it's a Mythomagic themed one and Bianca has to keep dragging Nico away from it? So, those are my thoughts about The Sun and the Star.
It's a great book.
I think that's got to be...
Do recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh,
guys.
it's so good. And Bob the Titan leaves.
He just kind of pisses off.
He's just going to leave. I thought he was going to hang out at Camp Half-Blood, but
it's like, no, I got to go west, which means he's going to Mount Tam.
Yeah, which means he gets to be New Rome's problem. Not that he's a problem, but...
No, New Rome's
someone
problem...
Someone needs to give him a letter of like... I don't know, like a letter of recommendation. Just be like, all right, if anybody gives you a hard time...
I think he's just going to
give this to them.
I think he's going to visit Atlas.
Don't visit that guy. Don't talk to that guy.
Why else would he go to the West?
I don't know.
Maybe to visit
God
Percy.
Of the West, right?
I don't remember.
I don't think he's friends with Percy.
He's friends with Percy.
I don't think he's friends with Percy.
He's friends with Percy.
I don't think he's friends with Percy. Percy fucking Jackson should have gone down there and saved this man. It is his fault that he was brainwiped.
Percy.
His fault that he ended up working
Percy
in
went
the house.
through a
His
fucking
fault
enough.
that he
Leave this boy alone.
This is his responsibility.
Is it his responsibility?
Yes.
He could have called out to Percy.
You know, that's right. He was calling out to Nico specifically. That is important because Bob knew Percy wouldn't come. He knew he couldn't count on him.
I don't.
This feels like the trade-off of Percy being like, "Listen, I will take on responsibility of being the child of prophecy. Nico, you get to take care of Bob.
You get to
That's
deal
the
with
trade-off.
I do kind of inherently have a problem with like it being like, oh, Percy wouldn't do it because I do believe Percy would. Percy fell into Tartarus for Annabeth.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. It feels like
his fatal flaw is his love for his friends, and Bob is a friend to Percy.
Yeah, at this point, it feels like they're just kind of knows that the fans want to hear from Percy and Annabeth. And it would have been weird if Nico and Will didn't reach out to Percy and Annabeth for advice. But also, if Percy's there, he pulls all the focus.
Oh, 100%. Again, I understand why Percy's not there. But I'm saying I don't really like the Percy slander.
It's not slander.
It's kind of slander.
What? Percy doesn't have to do this anymore because he did everything else. He saved the world
problem
twice.
is that that's not what everyone is saying in the book. Saying is that Percy wouldn't have fucking come. That's what everyone's saying in the book. Percy would not have come.
No. Okay. Oh, you mean to rescue Bob?
Yeah. Percy wouldn't have went to TARDIS to rescue Bob.
No, he
that's
would have been called. No, I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I said just now. No one else said that.
No, in the book.
No,
In
they're
the
not.
book, people are like, no, Percy probably wouldn't have gone.
No, I think.
Why
no.
do you? No, the whole reason he called out to freaking Nico is because he believed Nico would help him, meaning that he doesn't believe Percy would. And even Nico says, yeah, Percy wouldn't go down there again.
No, I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't have because it was horrible. Maybe he couldn't have. But no, I think if he had called Percy, would have come. I'm
That's what I
kidding
believe
when
too.
I said that.
Yeah.
What they say is, I think the reason Bob calls Nico is because he's friends with Nico, not really friends with Percy.
Ridiculous.
Because Nico came to see him all the time. They were actually friends, and he knew Nico would come. Maybe he was scared Percy wouldn't.
Yeah, but Bob believed that they were friends even when Percy never visited him.
Exactly. But that was because he was still under like complete mind wipe. Now that he has a little bit more understanding of the reality of it.
Yeah. Percy still would have come. I'm tired of Percy slander.
I love this book.
It's great.
I thought it was really good and really well done. And I like the ending where it talks about the future held hope and he clung to it. And that's so nice.
Yeah. It's very sweet. And I am excited for the next. Well,
I don't know. Well, so far we haven't. Well, the next one is Chalice of the Gods.
yeah.
No, put a pin in it. We've been recording for 90 minutes. This is not the time for the Chalice of the God conversation.
Maybe you'll hear about it next time, folks.
I'm sure we'll talk about it. But surely we'll get like whatever Chiron was doing. We'll get a hunter story.
Yeah.
We got to get a hunter story. I'm sure.
I'm sure what we're about to get is the Chalice of the Gods, the hunter's story. We're gonna get like probably 4 more books of these side stories from the world of Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to get is probably another 5-book series of what Chiron and like that problem.
5 books. Wow.
I mean,
Maybe.
I just imagine that he's gonna dip his toe back into the Percy Jackson Olympians world, and it's gonna entail like I don't even know what he's been doing with the Kane. If he has any plans
Nothing.
with Kane Chronicles.
We've done nothing with the Kane Chronicles since the
so
Demigods and Magicians.
I guess I can't say, but what I would like is a grouping of all the characters we've seen so far in some way, including Magnus Chase and the Kane siblings.
Yeah, I could. Right? I would also
so
like
we would
that
have
very
like
much.
Percy, Annabeth, Magnus, and Alex. Maybe not Alex.
I feel like Alex.
I have a mixed bag of Alex, but
you like Alex.
I like Alex, but I don't like Alex.
Really? I gotta cut
I just don't like the treatment of Magnus, but it's whatever. It's fine. I'm sure he just again doesn't know how to write a relationship.
That there's one kind of relationship Rick Riordan could write. Let's let Mark Oshiro write Magnus and Alex. I'm sure it'll be great.
It'll be fine. I'm sure we're gonna get another 5-book series eventually.
Yeah, he's not done.
He's certainly not done.
But this was lovely. I like this book a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like it so much that, well, even before it came out, I bought a special edition copy that was done with a popular fan artist did the dust jacket cover, and it was supposed to be in like a book crate, but the wait list was too long, but they had so much interest that they went ahead and got permission just to publish just the book. So eventually I'm going to get that, and I'm going to have 2 of these. But I'm excited.
It's going to be fun.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, I will admit, different ReMyth episode.
A little bit. It was really more of us talking about a book and
it felt
enjoying
like
it.
good timing.
Yeah.
Next month, we'll go back to our regularly scheduled programming. But thank you so much for listening. And an extra big shout out to our God Level patrons, Tim O'Connor and the Crystal Con Man.
You guys are our sun and star.
Thank you, DJ. That's perfect. Take care, everybody.
Bye.